Welcome back to Java Space. So in the previous video, you saw how we can generate queries based on method names, and also I showed you the find by convention that you have to use and a link to a documentation that you can actually follow for you to be able to generate method names that Spring will be able to convert to queries. But before I pass this section, I want to show you some rule of thumbs when you are dealing with method names. The first rule of thumb is you must avoid long method names. Just look at this method name. Find first 20 by addresses, province containing, and age between. Look at how long this method name is. And it looks like we are doing a lot here. Okay, let me not even go there. But the method name itself is too long. And this method name is a bit long under the premise that it improves readability. You see that it's camel cased. Another thing I forgot to mention is that these method names must be camel cased, or you can use underscore. So you see what we are doing here. We are saying find first 20 by addresses underscore province containing and age between. This is too long. Although it's readable, but it's too long. So avoid long method names. Long method name is an indicator that we are trying to do a lot or too much in one method, and it is a code smell. We are trying to do a lot or too much, and it is a code smell. Long method names only allowed when you are writing a test. There is no limit. You can write as long method name as you want. There is no limit. But in here, let's try to make method names short. Also, a method name should not have more than 2 parameters. So not should have more than 2 parameters. A method should have a maximum of 2 parameters. If it has more than that, then you have to use some other things, maybe JPQL or whatever you want to use it. But in terms of derived queries, if a method takes more than 2 parameters, don't use derived queries. Use something else. Alright, so when you have more than 2 parameters, you can use JPQL, Java Persistent Query Language. But also, because remember with JPQL, you will have to use at query, and then query the way you want to query. But even with JPQL, it will not be the best option when your query is becoming very complex, like even way complex than one can imagine. You wouldn't want to use at query. That's where we have something called specification. It's more allowing you to do criteria building and all that. So if you use criteria builder, then we are talking about much more complex queries. So when you go too complex, use specification in Spring. We are going to see how you can use that in the series. But at query, can allow you to cater for complex queries, but not too complex. Also, prefer to use bind parameters over inline parameters, because bind parameters, they avoid SQL injections. They also allow automatic conversion to correct SQL types when you are using query annotation or when you are using JPQL query. Try to use bind parameters. First, because they avoid SQL injection. Second, because they allow conversion to correct SQL types. And finally, they enable the JPA provider and a database to optimize the query for you. So with bind parameters, I'm not sure if I have that, but I'm just going to show you what I mean by bind parameter. So let's assume, let me just go into quiz. Okay, I have text color blah blah. So what I'm gonna do in here is I'm gonna say find by. Okay, let me just say find. Sorry about that, guys. Find, and here I'm gonna put it query, add query. Alright, then I can write my JPQL. So I can say select. What am I selecting here? P from quiz, where P dot, now do you write? Okay, I think you say from quiz Q, something like this, where Q. Are you doing it like this? I forgot. My JPQL is gone. Okay, let me Google it first. Because you know these derived queries, they even make me to forget. Let me just say Spring data JPQL. Right, let me see. Okay, I'm gonna just say Spring data JPA, add query. Alright, okay, let me use this one, add query. I hope I find something quick. Add query. Okay, it's here. Select U from user U. Alright, actually forget. So I was actually correct previously. I have to say select Q from quiz Q. Alright, where Q dot text equals to text. So you see this text, if I put it like this, and then I say add param text. So what we have done here, we have used a bind parameter. Another way of using bind parameter is we can remove this guy here and then put a question mark here. This is also another bind parameter. So this is what I meant by using bind parameters, and we mentioned that they will avoid SQL injection and they will allow automatic conversion to SQL type, and they will enable JPA provider to optimize their query for you.